Hi, this is Justin. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the beats now, and this has had quite a big impact on my screenplay. I've already gone back and re-examined some of the main characters, some of their motivations, their sort of story arc, their journey, and this has really helped me. The green cards behind me are actually the beats overlaid on top of my actual scenes, and it's identified already the black holes that I need to go back and really sort of develop, and they're elements of the story that I've got ideas for but haven't written yet, and this really helps me. I can pace it. I know what I have to hit at the right time. So first beat is the open. So my opening scene is now centered on a chapel in Slovakia, nestled into the foot of some mountains, and it backs onto an old abandoned ore mine, and in there we find a priest. It's the first time that we see one of the inhabitants of this strange cemetery that my main character starts to uncover this sort of sinister history. And I wanted to sort of start the film centered on the backstory of one of these priests. And of course, at first the audience has no idea how this all links up. Now, originally I actually had a flashback to Peter's childhood when his sister passed away. She killed herself. And of course the church wouldn't allow her to be buried in the family plot. Now that's still really important, but I've decided now that I'm going to weave that into the setup rather than have it as a standalone set piece, as it were. I kind of don't want to do a flashback now. So that's my opening scene. We start in the Slovakian mountains in a creepy little chapel, and we're introduced to this priest, this horrible, demented, malevolent, crazy member of the clergy. Next we get to the theme stated. What is this whole movie about? And originally I had quite a few pages or scenes written about testing faith. The whole movie is actually about sin, which is great because that allows me to define clearly the sins of the main characters, because that's kind of key to a monster in the house story. It's even key if I decide that this is a why done it film. Sin is still a key theme. Now, however, I'm focusing on Peter moving to this new cottage in Redway Lane, which is next door to this cemetery. So that's kind of the theme. This is the mystery that we're going to uncover. What is it that's wrong with this place, and why is this individual finding himself next door to this cemetery, and what does this have to do with this priest? That's what I'm setting up. Then we have the setup. I have up to about 12 pages or 12 minutes of screen time to set up my main character and imply to the audience what this movie is going to be about. I've already shown this priest in this sort of horrific den of murder and worse. Then I introduce this character that's moved to the cottage. Now I need to set up his obsession with this cemetery that's next door, and where does he get that obsession from? Why is he so interested in this cemetery? And who is he? What's his traits? What is he like? Do we like the character? Why should we follow him for the next 1.5 hours? So that's kind of key. And then we have the catalyst on page 12. According to Blake, we should have something, whether it's a phone call or a package arrives or something happens that implies, again, what this whole film is going to be about, and what the journey we're going to experience is going to be around. So I'm now only on 12 minutes, and I've had to cram in quite a lot, and you can see that I've got a lot of scenes there for this sort of Act 1. Act 1, by the way, takes me to about page 25. I've got way too much info there that I've got to try and trim down, edit, and make compelling, so I've got a lot of work to do there. The fifth beat is what Blake calls the debate, and this kind of gives, again, some more setup, gives us some more clues about the story. Again, it sort of underpins the character's journey, and for Monumental Words, this is the mystery that Peter starts to uncover. He notices that something is strange about the engravings in this cemetery, and it's not what he was expecting, and he begins his investigation, and of course he meets some of the secondary characters, including John Clement the vicar and Ted Mead, the guy who actually makes these tombstones. So he's starting to investigate now and pick apart a little bit. What is the history of this place? Why is it so strange? At the same time, I obviously, as it's a supernatural thriller, I have to have some elements in there that I've already written that gives it a feel of this menace, or this impending menace that's going to occur to this character. The sixth beat is the break into Act 2. Now, before we break into Act 2, and at the midpoint, and the break into Act 3, we have to have something big that happens. And for this story, at the end of Act 1, this is when Peter encounters this scenario where some gravediggers are putting somebody new into this, what was an unused cemetery. You know, it's centuries old. And all of a sudden we've got somebody new going in, and this one has different initials again engraved on a tombstone. So this, well, at least what I want it to do, is to heighten the mystery. Okay, well, we found out why all these tombstones have got these certain set of initials on, and now this is something different. So what's going on here? And that's how I want to kind of break into the second act.